Welcome 2021. As a teacher, we love to organize. In fact, if we didn't organize, our lives would be a little chaotic in the classroom. So there are certain tools that we like to use that just help to make our lives a little bit easier. And in this video, guys, I'm going to share my top 5 Lakeshore organizational tools that help to make my life a little bit more sane this year. A quick thank you to Lakeshore for sponsoring this video. They have high quality items that they make with teachers in mind. And so I have a few links down in the description box of all of the items that I'm going to be sharing in the video, including a coupon code so that you can go and get 25% off of a single non-sale item. So head on over there today, grab a little item, get some of the things organized, and help start making your life as a teacher a little bit more sane. So one of the first items I want to share with you guys are these magnetic display shelves. So they come in a pack of 2, and last year I had them right exactly where they are. I used them to be able to display some of our best books, new reads, new additions to the classroom library. But this year it's a little bit different because of all the different changes that we have with what our school year looks like. I decided to put them behind my workspace. So this is my desk area, and this is typically where I will spend the majority of my time as a teacher because I'm teaching in the front of the classroom, but I also have my desk area in the front of my classroom. So what I do is I keep various clipboards that I use throughout the day, and this is just a great way for me to be able to easily grab the information that I need. So one of the things that I have is a lunch and breakfast count, which is something new that we're doing this year. Because we're eating in the classroom, we have to take lunch and breakfast count every single morning. So in the mornings, I will just grab my clipboard, head over to the door and greet my students, and also take their count for the day. Makes it very easy, but then when I have an assistant come into my classroom, she's able to also grab my clipboard and double check on who is getting what type of lunch. So it has like a multi-use little area. The other clipboard that I keep over here are just some of the assessments that I have. So I have various district assessments, learning targets, things that I need to keep track with when it comes to my students' progress and their learning. I keep it on that clipboard. And then finally, I have one more clipboard that I keep all of my nurse information. So what do we do when a student is sick or they're claiming to be sick? And what are the processes and the procedures that I need to go about in making sure that we get them where they need to go? So one of the biggest things this year is always having to be prepared for a sub. And we always want to be prepared for subs, but we also want to make sure that we have access to all of the information pretty easily. And so having the display shelves, it just makes it that much easier for me. The other thing that I wanted to share with you guys in this area is my giant classroom timer. I love this timer. I think it's great, and it's been really, really useful for me this year. So there's been a challenge for me because I'm so used to teaching so many different small groups and having that constant rotation of learners. This year, however, we're sticking to whole group instruction. And so to engage my learners, I found has been a little bit more challenging. We can't do the classroom discussions, we can't do the walking around the room. So how do I engage them? A lot of the times I will put a timer on. And so having this timer has been such a blessing because it makes everything so much easier. Normally I would have these really fun timers, but I'm trying to display things on the projector so that kids in the very back can be able to see. And so I don't have that luxury to be able to do that. So I go ahead and just use this giant classroom timer. The kids really enjoy it. They know when I take the timer out, we're gonna be doing a really fun, engaging activity. So in this video, you might end up seeing some sort of a theme when it comes to the products that I'm gonna be sharing. And the big reason for that is because my instruction has really changed. And so the things that have really been saving my life this year are the things that are going to be magnetic and able to display up here on the front board. It's where I spend the majority of my time because this is where my instruction is happening, but this is also where I will spend my time when students are independent learning. So a lot of the action is happening in the front these days, guys. So another item that I want to share with you that I've been loving, I've had it for a good year now, are going to be the magnetic folder bins. I love these bins. They come in the blue, purple, and the green. You have 3 of them to the pack. And what I like about them is, one, again, they're super durable, like very hard for me to take off. But also it's very easy to be able to wipe on and wipe off exactly what you want this to be for. So what I intended it for last year was to be able to keep various assignments, different papers, different resources for kids to be able to get access to independently. Again, things have changed a little bit this year. So what I do is I have a to the office folder. So I keep my office folder, my lunch money up here. The students in the morning will come in my classroom, and because this is located right in the very front of the room, my students are able to come over here and just place their items where they need it to go. So anything that goes to the office or to the lunchroom, it goes inside the purple bin, inside of the green bin because it's my favorite color. They will put anything that goes personally to me. And then finally, I keep a few of the extras that go up here at the very top. So for instance, we had an assessment the other day and we had some extra papers. So I placed them up there because I still have 2 learners that need to take that assessment. So it's just a really good reminder to be able to give them some of the other resources that I provided students. So these have been great. I like the fact that it's just right here up in the very front of the room. This is kind of like the student area. Where we were previously was like the teacher area. That was behind my table, and this area is more just for everyone. The other item that I have really been loving, and I have to say, guys, I think this one's my favorite, is the magnetic paper pockets. I adore these magnetic paper pockets. I loved them last year and I still love them. And I'm using them for the exact same purpose. So these haven't really changed over since the year. So they're for the same reason. And so keep this in mind too, that as I'm going through and talking about all of these items, I used them for different purposes. So there's not just a one way to use the organizational tools. I definitely think that you can kind of tweak it and make it work for your own classroom. Okay, let's go back to my favorite, the magnetic paper pockets. I just love them. So I have them in the yellow, the blue, and the green. I think that there's a red one as well. I'm pretty sure. These tend to be like my more favorite colors. I like red, just not as much. Okay, so here's what I am using them for this year. Like I mentioned, it's the same reason that I used them last year. So what I do is every month my students have to do a book talk. I really enjoy book talks. I think it's a great way to be able to engage students in reading books independently. So what they have to do is they sign up for the book talk for the month. And I have like an online form that they do within their Schoology, and they have to complete the script itself. So they have to write it out, but they also have to turn it in. So I keep various forms and things for my students to be able to just come and grab, be able to fill out themselves, and then turn it into me so that I can review it before they actually stand up to do their book talk to the class. I also have my rubrics here. So as soon as they're ready, I know that I can just come over here, grab a quick rubric so that I can just write it down. And normally I'll just sit out in the crowd with the other students so that, you know, makes it easier for me to just kind of watch and enjoy the book talk along with my other kiddos. So all of those resources are there. Like I mentioned, if I was to recommend any of the things, this one's probably my favorite. The final item that I want to share with you guys that have made just my life a little bit easier when it comes to organization is not necessarily going to be a teacher organizational tool, it's a student organizational tool. Now, it's important for teachers to really help students organize their materials. We have to teach kids how to be organized and tidy. And sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge. And for me this year, the challenge was dealing with desks. I'm not used to dealing with desks and having my students just have all of the materials shoved inside. So I really wanted to think of something that was going to help them stay organized, but also make it a little bit easier for me. And so what I ended up doing is getting the See Inside storage pouch for my students. So it's just a clear, kind of plasticky pouch, which makes it really nice for wiping things down and keeping things clean. You don't have to worry about any of the fabric getting stained or anything like that. Very easy to maintain. And so it has a little Velcro and a flap here. And then students have a lot of their materials on the inside. So here's what I use this for. So my kids have various toolbox materials. So this is kind of their learning toolbox is what I call this for them. And within their learning toolbox, these are things that we're going to use throughout the year, throughout the day, sometimes several times a day. And so I just want to make sure that my students have access because we're trying to limit how much our students are kind of sharing materials. We don't want them to share materials. They have to have their own set inside of their desk. So this felt like it was going to be an easy way for them to maintain and keep everything organized. To be honest, everything except for their homeroom folder needs to be inside of this toolbox. And they also have like a pencil box. That's a separate thing. So really it's like 3 separate items in their desk. And inside of the toolbox, I just want to share with you what I place inside of it. We have a multiplication chart that students are going to use because hashtag division and multiplication in 5th grade. It's not easy. I give them a whiteboard because we do use this a lot for math and especially for ELA. I have my highlighter toolkit. I know this is probably noisy and I'm sorry. So I have a highlighter toolkit with some various highlighters that my students will use, and we do use this periodically. I give them a felt pad and then a dry erase marker. The felt pad is for erasing. And then we have these little items, which are kind of your think marks. I use these in ELA. So with think marks, it could be various things. So this one's for setting. We had one that we just did for checking your characters. We're going to have some for text structures. So there's lots of little things that I want to kind of aid my students with as they're completing graphic organizers in ELA. And this is always a really nice resource to have. And then finally, I keep a ruler and then 2 die inside of it as well. So it's just a nice, and I'll show you what it looks like kind of empty. It's a nice pouch, a good size, and I think it would be great for either your books. If you have books for lower level elementary students, you can keep all of their independent reading books inside of there, or you can use it for the same purpose that I'm using it. You can also, if you are big into centers, once we're able to go back to doing regular centers, this would be also really nice to organize a lot of your center materials so that they're not all over the place because let's be honest, they go all over the place. So those are going to be the 5 items that I really wanted to share with you. They're all Lakeshore items, and it's because I've been working with Lakeshore for quite some time, and I just felt that it would be really nice to kind of do a roundup of my favorite Lakeshore organizational tools because, I mean, they hit the spot when it comes to how to do it for organization and teachers. So as I mentioned, guys, all of the links to any of the items that I shared in this video are going to be down in the description box, along with a coupon code to get 25% off a single non-sale item so that you can go and head over to Lakeshore and start checking out some of the great items that they have to help keep you a little bit more organized this year. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new to this channel. I was out for just a little bit, but I am finally back. It's 2021 and I'm very excited about some of the things that I'm going to be sharing here over on my YouTube channel. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so that you can get notified every time I go live or I share a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I want to know, what's your favorite organizational tool? Share it down below. Let's get the conversation started, and I hope to see you guys in the comments. Have a good one. Bye, guys.